The sun had just set, and the streets of Lagos were alive with the sounds of honking cars and street vendors calling out their wares. In the small, two-bedroom flat where Ada and Chike lived, tension hung in the air. Mama Nnenna's sharp voice cut through the quiet as she bustled into the sitting room, her gel tilted to one side from the rush of her arrival. Ada, my daughter, I don't know how you are still enduring this life of suffering, Mama Nnenna began, dropping her handbag onto the couch with a dramatic sigh. She looked at Chike, seated quietly at the corner of the room, his eyes on the newspaper in his hands. You deserve better than this, my dear. Chike said nothing as usual. He simply folded the paper neatly and got up. Good evening, Mama, he said with a soft smile. Mama Nnenna scoffed. Evening for what? A man with no ambition should not even have the right to greet me. Ada, standing in the kitchen doorway, frowned. Mama, please, don't start. Don't start. Don't start. Mama Nnenna's voice rose. Am I not your mother? Am I not the one who carried you for 9 months? I won't keep quiet while you waste your life with a man who can't even afford to fix that broken chair in the corner. Chike's face remained calm. He walked to the door and said, I'll go and buy the bread you asked for, Ada. Mama Nnenna let out a loud laugh. You see, even bread is his level. A man who cannot bring real money into this house. Meanwhile, there are men out there, men like Desmond, who could give you the life you deserve. Ada's expression darkened. Mama, please stop. But Mama Nnenna was already planning her next move. Don't worry, Ada, tomorrow evening, I will fix everything. I'm hosting a dinner at Desmond's workplace. He's a man with vision, and I want you to see the difference between him and... She waved her hand dismissively toward Chike's empty seat. This, Chike returned minutes later, placing the loaf of bread on the table. His gaze lingered on Mama Nnenna for a moment, unreadable, before he quietly stepped into the bedroom. Ada watched him leave, her heart heavy with worrying. She knew her mother too well. This was only the beginning. The evening of the dinner came faster than Ada expected. The event was being held at the Grand Hall of Desmond's company, a place Mama Nnenna couldn't stop talking about since she stepped through the doors. Do you see this place? Mama Nnenna whispered loudly to Ada, her eyes darting around the shining chandeliers and polished floors. This is what success looks like, not that cramped flat you call home. Ada sighed and glanced at Chike, who had just walked in behind them. He wore his simple, well-ironed shirt and trousers, looking calm as ever. The difference between him and Desmond, who stood at the far end of the hall in a sleek suit, was stark. Mama Nnenna's eyes lit up when she spotted Desmond and waved excitedly. There he is. Mama Nnenna grabbed Ada's arm and dragged her across the hall. Come and greet the man who knows how to live like a real man. Chike followed quietly, his expression unreadable. When they reached Desmond, Mama Nnenna greeted him with an exaggerated smile. Ah, Desmond, see how fine you look. My daughter is lucky to have a friend like you. Desmond smiled politely but kept his distance, clearly uncomfortable. Good evening, Ma. Good evening, Ada. Good evening, Chike. Mama Nnenna ignored the last greeting and launched into praise for Desmond. You see this man? This is what a hard-working man looks like. Desmond is going places. Ada, you should pay attention to this kind of man. Mama, Ada said through gritted teeth. That's enough. But Mama Nnenna wasn't finished. When they sat down for dinner, she made sure to seat Chike where everyone could see him. As the food was served, she turned to him with a mocking smile. So, Chike, what do you do again? Oh yes, you're self-employed. That's just another way of saying unemployed, isn't it? The table went silent. Ada's face burned with embarrassment, and Desmond shifted uncomfortably in his seat. But Chike didn't react. He simply took a sip of his water and said, I'm working on something important, Mama, you'll see soon. Mama Nnenna laughed loudly. Something important? Please don't make me laugh. The only important thing you should be working on is how to stop being a burden to my daughter." The words hung in the air, heavy and cruel. Ada's hand tightened around her fork. But before she could speak, Chike stood up. "Thank you for the dinner, Mama," he said softly. "I'll be heading home now." And with that, he walked out of the hall, leaving Mama Nnenna looking triumphant, Ada furious, and Desmond deeply uncomfortable. But as Chike stepped outside into the cool night air, a small smile played on his lips. The time for explanations was coming, but not yet. Ada didn't sleep that night. She sat on the edge of the bed, her thoughts tangled. Chike was lying beside her, sound asleep, his breathing calm. How could he be so unbothered? Her mother had humiliated him in front of everyone, yet he didn't flinch. By morning, Mama Nnenna's words were still ringing in Ada's ears. "You deserve better. Ada, you're wasting your life with a man like that." At breakfast, the tension was thick. Chike ate quietly, as he always did, while Ada stirred her tea without drinking it. She finally broke the silence. "Chike, why do you let her talk to you like that?" Ada's voice was shaky, her frustration bubbling over. "You didn't even defend yourself." Chike looked up, his eyes calm and steady. "Ada, does it matter what she thinks?" "Yes, it matters," she snapped. "It matters to me. You don't even try to explain yourself. You just take the insults and walk away." Chike sighed and put his spoon down. "Ada, some battles aren't worth fighting with words. When the time is right, the truth will speak for itself." Ada stared at him, confused and annoyed. "What truth, Chike? What are you even talking about?" Before he could answer, Mama Nnenna burst into the house unannounced, as usual. "Ada," she called out, dropping her handbag on the couch. "Desmond just called me. He's invited us to the company gala this weekend. Do you know what that means?" Ada frowned. "Mama, please, I don't want to talk about Desmond." Mama Nnenna waved her off. "Nonsense. This is your chance to meet people who matter, Ada, not people like." She glanced at Chike and smirked. "Yim." Chike stood up and began clearing the plates. Mama Nnenna scoffed. "Look at him, playing houseboy. Ada, is this the kind of man you want raising your children?" "Mama, enough," Ada shouted. "You've said enough." But Mama Nnenna only smiled, smug and confident. "Don't worry, my daughter. You'll see what I mean at the gala." Chike didn't say a word as he washed the dishes, but there was a flicker in his eyes, a quiet determination that no one noticed. As Mama Nnenna and Ada argued in the background, Chike's mind was already on the weekend ahead. The time for explanations was closer than anyone expected. The gala was nothing short of extravagant. The hall sparkled with gold and silver decorations, and the crowd was a mix of polished executives and their elegantly dressed spouses. Mama Nnenna, wearing her brightest attire and most elaborate gel, glided into the room with Ada at her side. Ada felt out of place even in her borrowed gown, but Mama Nnenna had no such reservations. Her eyes scanned the crowd eagerly, searching for Desmond. "There he is," Mama Nnenna exclaimed, pulling Ada toward a corner where Desmond stood chatting with a group of colleagues. Desmond turned as they approached, his polite smile faltering slightly when he saw them. "Good evening, Ma," he said, bowing slightly. "Ada, you look lovely." Mama Nnenna beamed. "Doesn't she? A woman like her deserves the best, don't you agree?" Desmond's smile tightened. "Yes, Ma. Now, where is Chike?" Mama Nnenna asked loudly, her voice dripping with mockery. "Probably at home, as usual. A place like this isn't for him." She laughed, and Ada frowned, her discomfort growing. Before Desmond could respond, a hush fell over the room. The crowd began murmuring as the MC took the stage. "Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here tonight. This is a special occasion because, for the first time, the CEO of our company is making an appearance." Mama Nnenna straightened up, her curiosity piqued. Finally." Let's see the face of the man behind all this success, she whispered to Ada. The MC continued. Please give a warm welcome to our CEO, Mr. Chike. The room erupted into applause as Chike stepped onto the stage, dressed in a sharp-tailored suit that seemed to glow under the lights. His calm demeanor and confident smile were a stark contrast to the humble man everyone thought they knew. Ada's jaw dropped. Mama Nnenna froze, her face pale as if she'd seen a ghost. What is this? She stammered. Desmond's expression shifted to one of quiet awe. Madam, that's your son-in-law. On stage, Chike began his speech. I want to thank all of you for your hard work and dedication. But most importantly, I want to thank my wife, Ada, who has stood by me through everything. He paused, his eyes scanning the crowd until they landed on Ada. Ada, you've been my greatest strength. The crowd cheered, but Mama Nnenna could only sit in stunned silence. Her pride and assumptions shattered. The man she had humiliated for years was now the center of attention, admired by everyone. The ride home was eerily quiet. Ada sat beside Chike, her hands trembling as she clutched her purse. Mama Nnenna sat stiffly in the back seat, her lips pressed together in a thin line. The echoes of Chike's speech still rang in her ears. Chike drove silently, his expression unreadable. The evening had been a whirlwind of emotions, but he remained calm as always. When they arrived home, Mama Nnenna was the first to step out. She hurried into the house without a word, her face flushed with embarrassment. Ada hesitated before stepping out. Chike, she began, her voice barely above a whisper. Why didn't you tell me? Chike turned to her, his eyes soft. Because it didn't matter. Ada, I never wanted you to love me for my wealth. I wanted you to love me for who I am. Tears welled up in Ada's eyes. But Mama, the things she said to you, the way she treated you. Chike smiled faintly. People will always judge what they don't understand. I knew the truth would come out eventually, and tonight it did. Inside the house, Mama Nnenna paced the living room, unable to meet Chike's gaze when he entered. Ada followed closely, her heart pounding. Mama, Ada began, her voice firm. You owe Chike an apology. Mama Nnenna stopped pacing and looked up, her eyes darting nervously between her daughter and son-in-law. I didn't know, she stammered. Chike stepped forward, his calm presence filling the room. Mama, I've never held your words against you. I understand that you wanted the best for Ada, and I respect that. But wealth doesn't define a person's worth. Mama Nnenna's lips trembled. Chike, I'm sorry. I misjudged you. Chike nodded, his smile warm. It's in the past, Mama. All I ask is that we move forward as a family. Tears streamed down Mama Nnenna's face as she embraced him, her pride finally giving way to humility. As they stood there, Ada reached for Chike's hand, her heart swelling with gratitude and love. For the first time in years, their home felt whole. The night that had begun with humiliation had ended in unity, proving that true strength lies not in wealth, but in character.